Hello, everyone, and welcome to Quests and Chaos. This is our video of our 3 top subclasses of Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. We are going to, each one of us, Tiana, Aaron, and myself, pick one subclass we're going to talk about. And I think that we should just jump right in and talk about Aaron.
I'm glad you started with me because I definitely came the most prepared.
Totally, absolutely the most prepared.
100% bet on everyone's life the most prepared I am. Let's start with the monk because okay. So I made one character for my Rick and Morty DMing session, my virgin session. It's the first 10 minutes. But I had to do like this. I wanted a monk, and I knew I wanted a monk. I rarely play those, and so I found the one that drinks a lot, and I just kind of kept that one. I went with that one instead. But I found
very thematic.
I saw some other cool ones in there, like Way of the Astral Self. Now, that subclass is amazing. I really like the Astral Arms. You know, like somewhat stars. You know, what situations do you think those arms would come in handy? No pun intended.
When you want to hit somebody from 10 feet away, it's when those come in very handy.
Is that what it says? Oh, yes, it does.
Totally prepared. Super prepared.
I was so prepared. I wrote that I would say that.
You can, so you spend a key point to summon those arms. And then you are able to use them. Let's see. What does this actually say? As a bonus action, you can spend 1 key point to summon the arms of your astral self. When you do so, each creature of your choice that you can see within 10 feet of you must succeed on a dexterity saving throw or take force damage equal to 2 rolls of your martial arts style.
This is what makes me want to excited for new D&D games, because I do definitely want to play a monk. I haven't done that enough. And my One Punch Man ripoff, Sam Thomas, Saitama, I was not satisfying. I forgot to do a lot of his moves. So I think something like this, just having it pretty streamlined with that he has extra arms and you have more range, really help. That would help me. I would love to play this guy.
Monks are a lot of fun. They're definitely glass cannons, but you can have a lot of fun with them if you know how to play them right.
I think I'm okay with that. How does their health normally go?
It depends on your constitution, but I think they are a D8. I'd have to look again.
Nobody knows.
It's been a while since I've built a monk, and I had to look recently to be like, hey, what is it for a paladin? And I play that right now.
Let me look at one of our sponsors, D&D Beyond.
It is a D8.
Beyond. Okay,
that's
cool.
A 6 average, because that's how I roll. I roll super average. Actually, I roll terrible, so I take the average.
That's the real way to do it. And I mean, of course, it depends on what your con score is, but yeah.
That rolling to the average haunts me every time, like with the character. So I can't get my mind off. I was like, I was 2 points away from not average.
There are, this thing has some very cool abilities as well. When you get into the sort of their 6th level ability, the visage of the astral self, where you can have astral sight. You can see in normal darkness and magical darkness.
Ooh.
I know.
So this character, maybe I need to bring this guy into the next episode of just put magical darkness out, and then Remy and him fight it out, or her fight it out.
I would be so down to just pretend I'm hearing that, like I'm not actually seeing any of it.
That would last until Andraste casts daylight into the middle of everything.
Does that actually cast out magical darkness?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool. D&D for 2 years.
We actually talked about this when Bo was talking about giving Remy magical darkness, and I was like, you realize that you're going to have to warn Andraste, because if you don't, she will instinctively cast daylight the moment that she can't see.
Go ahead, Aaron. Okay, I'll jump in because I'm jumping in guy.
Cool guy.
Is daylight a domain spell for a light cleric? You'd think it would be.
You would think it would be. I don't think it is, but I'd have to look. Hang on. This is why I keep the book next to me for these sorts of questions.
It's gotta be.
Yes, it is at 5th level.
Yeah.
So I mean,
it's gonna take you a minute.
If you want to have magical darkness around, maybe don't do it around a light cleric.
Here's the thing, though.
It's kind of their thing.
Does it blind them? Like, as a DM, would you rule this if it went from magical darkness and, Remy can see through it, or this, monk can see through it? Would hitting that daylight immediately just blind the person for a second?
I mean, I wouldn't mind flavoring it like that. That's why pirates wear, an eye patch, that when they go down underneath a ship, they flip the eye patch to the other eye, and this one is accustomed to the darkness so that they can see better. I might
busted.
Just like if you were to do a drow, if you were to do daylight right in front of a drow, they're going to get negative conditions from that. I would assume.
Well,
similar.
Right, but drow very specifically have sunlight sensitivities, and it is counted as sunlight specifically. I don't know. I might make people roll a low Constitution save on that.
Yeah,
I would definitely throw some sort of penalty out there. I think just to at least to entertain myself, to get them to be like, "Do you hate me yet?"
Remind me to tell you a story about why my Divine Soul Sorcerer is afraid of casting daylight type spells. I'll tell you that story later.
Okay, I'm curious though. I'm curious now.
I'll tell you later.
All right. Okay. Maybe on Patreon. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
So speaking of darkness, I think we should head into the Twilight.
Into the Twilight. Well, I think that's my cue. The one that I picked was the Twilight Domain Cleric because I was glancing through all of the subclasses and I stopped. So reading through Tasha's, I got to look at a hard copy of it, and I was flipping through and reading Tasha's little notes. And honestly, I love all the domains and everything and all of the subclasses. I love Tasha's personality. She just has the driest sense of humor, and I love it. Like her caption on the Twilight Domain is, "I can't believe I'm writing this, but I think I could get behind a faith focused on mood lighting and evening wear."
In tiny huts.
And tiny huts. So yeah, the whole idea with the Twilight Domain is that you are the transition between light and darkness, which makes me think of the Grey Council from Babylon 5. Another reason why I really love it. At first level, so these are kind of I think that this particular cleric domain is built to be more martial heavy, partially because they gain first level, they gain proficiency with martial weapons and heavy armor, and then later on their 8th level domain feature is gaining the ability to infuse your weapon strikes with divine energy. Once in each of your turns, when you hit a creature with a weapon attack, you can cause the attack to deal an extra 1d8 radiant damage, which goes up when you hit 14th level. So this one is, I think, geared more towards melee combat, and that's what I'm using it for in a home game that I'm playing a domain Twilight Domain Cleric in. But seriously, my favorite thing is that you have dark vision to 300 feet.
Broken.
Yeah.
Not
you can
only
just sense anything.
Not only do you have dark vision out to 300 feet, but as an action, you can share that dark vision with a number of creatures equal to your wisdom modifier for an hour.
Here's the thing. If I didn't know that these books were, they take like years to make, I would say somebody stole my idea from Ruckus's Flambers of the Night. Other than obviously somebody wrote this before that. So.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know when the Twilight Domain entered Unearthed Arcana, but I don't think it's been. Well, I don't know. When did you make the Flambers of the Night? I feel like that was when we were around.
It's 20. Yeah, it's 20.
Around 5th level.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
last year.
Yeah, it was not long after we finished Waterdeep Dragon Heist, and that was yeah. That was before we spent 20 episodes at 5th level.
Yeah, it's been 70 weeks, 70 episodes since then.
Man.
We should be at level 20.
Wow, so it's been 2 years since I made that. Okay.
So I mean, I don't know.
They did steal it.
But I mean, I don't know when Twilight Domain hit the UA. I didn't look, but yeah. So the whole idea of the Twilight is you're martial, so you're up in the front, and you can see pretty much everything for 300 feet. And then when you start getting the channel divinities, so some of the channel divinities I think for different domains are stupid. I like light domains. That one's pretty cool. Life domain is very situational, and you have to keep a very close eye on everyone's hit points because it can't heal above half of their hit points. And that's frustrating because it's like, okay, I'm sitting here doing accounting, trying to figure out, okay, is this worth it to give the channel divinity? And sometimes you just can't pay that close attention to everyone else's stuff. But this one, Twilight Sanctuary, as an action, you present your holy symbol, and a sphere of twilight emanates from you. The sphere is centered on you, has a 30-foot radius, and is filled with dim light. The sphere moves with you, and it lasts for 1 minute or until you are incapacitated or die. Whenever a creature, including you, ends its turn in the sphere, you can grant that creature one of these benefits. You grant it temporary hit points equal to 1d6 plus your cleric level, or you end one effect on it, causing it to be charmed or frightened.
That's such great flexibility. Like,
right?
It's weird that they would say 1 minute to whenever that, you go to sleep or, or die.
Well, yeah, until you're incapacitated or die. And that is a very real concern, especially as a frontline cleric. But also, it's not a concentration-based thing. So if I were stunned, it would go away. But if I get hit, I don't have to make a concentration check on that, which is cool.
Yeah, that definitely screwed us over by not remembering the concentration on that one. A little tinge little bit. Screwed over.
But I mean, temporary hit points are kind of awesome. It's a sort of thing that can make the difference in life and death, especially when you're at 2nd level, when you first get that.
I like that it's early on. Well, not, that it's so early on you get it.
Yeah. But it's great. And what makes Thomas really hate the subclass?
The 9th level feature.
The 6th level feature where you can fly.
Banned. Not at my table. Banned.
You can only fly for a minute, and it's only
every bad guy has daylight prepared.
Oh, so you can't do it during the day.
So what it says is you draw on the mystical power of night to rise into the air. As a bonus action, when you are in dim light or darkness, you can magically give yourself a flying speed equal to your walking speed for 1 minute. You can use this bonus action a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest.
Okay. I see why you might not want to go with that.
No, I think so. When I played a sorcerer, I had fly in our Strahd campaign, and I flew all the time. But never in combat because it was I was always just trying to fly like over a chasm or over something like that. So I imagine there's a lot of role play and exploration that's available with that.
Yes.
I mean,
that's honestly one of the reasons why I really like this subclass is that it's my favorite time of day is actually twilight. I love the softness that comes over the world as the stars are starting to come out, but it's not like pitch black yet. I really love that time of day, and I love the character connotations that come with it for me when I'm thinking about it.
Is there a spell that just immediately turns it to day, though? Because I feel like if we were DMing this, we could figure out a way to be like, okay, well, now it's daytime, and you can't fly right now or something. I don't think it would break combat, but it would be definitely hard to plan around because then you would have to like figure out how these flying creatures or opponents fit in just to combat this one player.
You know what I could easily argue though? The Twilight Sphere surrounds you with dim light. So you are in dim light whenever that pops.
That's hilarious.
And I don't know if that could be countered by something like daylight.
That's so funny.
I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know how I would rule on something like that, because that is, a channel divinity and it's not a spell exactly. So I don't know. I don't know how I would rule on that one if I encountered that as a DM.
It might be broken.
But you would have to have both of them triggered at the same time, and that is a huge use of resources.
Yep.
To be able to fly for a minute.
That would take 2 turns to get there.
Exactly.
The next turn to actually do something. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Although, I mean, you could still do something in each of those turns if you have like spiritual weapon, if you're of that level.
I think if you have enough health, I would personally risk it. I would definitely take the damage as I'm trying to get something cool to happen, as you've seen.
Right. Now, that said, I do play a Twilight Cleric in a home game that I do, and I have yet to use any of my channel divinities or any ability besides, hey, you can also see out to 300 feet with me because the night is dark and full of terrors.
I feel like that's one of those cases of you're going to hoard all of this stuff for the end of the campaign, and then, you don't actually need to hoard it.
I mean, yes, but but also that just isn't the kind of character that Keladre really is. Keladre is a glaive-wielding half-elf wearing heavy armor who goes charging into the middle of things. So, subtlety isn't really her thing.
I would definitely still, I'm still accidentally saving things. I haven't used the bomb in Chaos Agent. And I was supposed to do it at the end of the arc, and then I completely forgot.
Well, I mean, the amazing thing about that bomb is that you were 6th level when you got it, and it was dangerous then.
Mm-hmm.
And now that you're not 6th level, it's kind of it's like 44.
Yeah.
But, everybody in 20 feet, it's basically a very small fireball. But a fireball is worse than that bomb.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
But I mean, what's funny to me is that even though we know that mechanically, our characters still remember how awful that thing was. And so we treat it with kid glove. It's part of why Andraste hid it in her bag of holding for as long as she did.
And I politely asked for it back.
As soon as you remembered that I had it, yes.
Yeah. Closer to the tail end of last year, I think.
Yeah, it was fairly recent. So Thomas, which subclass did you pick?
I actually picked one that I almost played. I did not actually pull the trigger on this one. This is the rogue subclass, the Phantom.
Cool.
It is like a death adjacent, where you are pulling on little bits of people that die around you. However that might happen.
However, wherever that may be.
This guy just died next to me, and my knife got all bloody. I don't know what happened.
Can't imagine.
So you get some cool features. So at 3rd level, you get 2 features. One is Whispers of the Dead, which is a role play and exploration amazing feature. You get to basically it's like echoes of those who have died around you cling to you, and when you finish a short or a long rest, you can pick a proficiency in a skill or tools that you don't have, and you become proficient in them. So you can, so you can suddenly say, oh man, we're going to be out in the wilderness for a while. I need to take proficiency in survival. And you take a short rest, and suddenly you have proficiency in survival.
How long does that last?
It's every time you take a short or a long rest, you can change it out, switch it up.
That's cool.
That's ridiculous. And does it just last until you do until you trade it out?
Yeah.
Wow.
So that is a very cool thing. You can be like, oh, I've got proficiency in this dice set that I'll never use. But cards, on the other hand, I don't even know why they're in 5th edition. Those game set proficiencies.
Mostly as role playing stuff. I mean, you were just talking about how much fun role play specific stuff is, and that's the sort of thing where it's like, either you lose your shirt at a gambling table, Abe, or you're able to take everyone for what they're worth and cause new problems or solve a problem.
Yeah. Then they have Whales from the Grave. Again, at 3rd level, this is where once after making a sneak attack, you get to apply half of your sneak attack dice to another creature within 30 feet. So it's like, oh, I'm going to sneak attack you for 5d6 damage. And then, that person, and they, for some reason in this one, they round up. So
one of the rare times that you do that in D&D.
Exactly.
Tasha's crazy.
Suddenly 3d6 to the bad guy next to it. You're like, holy cow.
I mean, she's Baba Yaga's daughter. Of course she's crazy.
The real cool thing doesn't happen until your 9th level, though, which is the reason I didn't take it, because there was that big gap between 3rd and 9th where nothing happened in this subclass. I'm like, that's why I took our Arcane Trickster, because my spells go up a little bit in between them. But you get, basically, this is Tokens of the Departed, where you get to you manifest a token from a creature who's just died in your presence. So how did that happen? And
oops,
people keep dying around me. I don't know why.
I'm cursed.
So you can do 3 things with them. So it's called a soul trinket. Sorry, I'm going to jump in. One is if you have a soul trinket on you, and you can have up to your proficiency bonus. So by the time you get this, you're at 4. You have advantage on death saving throws and constitution saves. And that's it. And then you get, when you deal sneak attack damage on your turn, you can destroy one of the soul trinkets and immediately use Whales from the Grave without expending a use. And that, again, is tied to your proficiency. So at 9th level, you have 4 proficiency uses of Whales of the Grave, and then you can have 4 more. So you could just do super massive damage in a go. And the third thing is you can destroy one of your soul trinkets no matter where it's located. So you could give it to somebody else to have benefits. And the spirit will answer a question. They don't have to answer truthfully. So it's a little bit like Speak with Dead.
Yeah.
So you can always have that, like, we killed the bad guy in mission 1. And now we're 6 missions in. And it's like, oh man, we have a question for that guy. I wonder if he knows X. You crush the soul trinket and ask him a question.
And if they're really pissy with you, they probably won't answer.
Yeah, they might. And then Ghost Walk at 13th, which is very cool, sort of like you phase partially into the realm of the dead. You can actually pass through objects like a ghost with this feature.
That's awesome.
And enemies, too. So that is very cool. And nobody ever gets to 17th level, so why even bother reading it?
Yeah.
I'm curious.
Death's Friend. Yes. When you use your Whales from the Grave, you can deal the necrotic damage to both the first target and the second one. So you're doing your sneak attack damage times and a half to the first person.
And then you can actually get someone else with it too.
At 17th level, how many D6s is that?
9 D6. And since it rounds up, that is actually a 9d6 plus 5d6. So 14 d6 against the first target, 5 d6 against the second.
Oh my god. That's awesome.
Right?
Yeah. Okay.
I'm kind of second guessing my choice now in our Rime of the Frostmaiden campaign.
I've actually seen this subclass played in another game that I was in, and it actually made for some really great role play because the character didn't know what was happening. He was just like, I have stabbed someone using my sneak attack, and that person over there is now bleeding too, and I don't know what happened.
That's
nice.
Cool. That's a great way to take it. It seems like a lot.
Go ahead.
It seems like a lot of those abilities with Phantom give you like the option. It's more obvious the option to role play it out and attack rather than just go straight for the damage. I just got 4 arms with my astral form. I just punched. I'm just a good.
You missed like all the cool stuff that the arms can do though. Like you skipped over most of it. Like it gives you the ability to use a different stat for normal strength based stuff.
The most prepared.
Yeah. Wait, at 17th level, what happens with the astral self? That's
You bet I know that off the back of my
awakened
hand.
astral self. Your connection to the astral self is complete, allowing you to unleash its full potential. And as a bonus action, you can spend 5 key points to summon arms, visage, and body of your astral self and awaken it for 10 minutes. You do a bunch of stuff.
And you can turn it into armor.
Yeah,
And then
exactly.
and then do a JoJo's reference and astral barrage the thing.
I mean, the whole way of the Astral Monk is just a JoJo reference.
That's also why I chose it, Thomas. I hope you know. You have to watch
Jojo Rabbit was an outstanding movie.
You know that's not what I mean.
I don't know what JoJo is, so
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. It's an anime.
That doesn't clarify it. I saw the
anime. Does that help?
I know it's anime because Aaron mentioned.
It is the Fast and Furious of anime. This is a very quick tangent, and I'm gonna send it to you, and you're gonna watch it. It's on Netflix.
All right.
But I think that maybe they not only stole from us and our your Flamberge, but they stole from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure with this Astral.
Might have done.
That's a whole stand right there. You'll understand what that means soon.
Or it's the fact that there really are no new ideas, and everything is just execution and how you take an idea and form it into reality.
Yeah,
Some people
yeah.
do better than others.
Well, exactly. And there's the idea there's only like 19 plots in the world or something like that. And it's all about how you remix and then take it in a different direction. So, creativity is theft.
All right.
Parallel thinking.
Does anyone have any final thoughts on overall thoughts on Tasha's Cauldron of everything?
I really like it. I think it is a really fun source book. It is a really great way to expand on the classes. And we haven't mentioned it yet, but I love that there is an option to do different racial stats, where a lot more is dependent on your background, a lot more is dependent on your training, and you make the choices based on who your character is. So yeah, you can make an orc wizard and have it be perfectly viable and perfectly playable without having the negative stat to intelligence. I think that's really cool. I like I said, I love Tasha. Her voice throughout the whole book is just kept me turning pages, waiting to see what she would say next.
Gotcha. My hot take is, I'm sure it will grow on me, but this is a pale comparison to Xanathar's Guide to Everything, which to me has so much more good content in it. But I think it's early to make that call. So I think I will use the stuff that is in here a lot more often going forward. I've had 2 years to use Xanathar. So.
Right.
Any hot takes, Aaron?
I got some hot takes coming from someone who has not read most of Xanathar's Guide.
Or Tasha's.
Or Tasha's. But from what I've heard today from all of us, and our equal amount of research, is that I like how creative they are with the abilities and what you can do. They seem really I'm not sure, out there, but I mean, they give you a lot. She gives you everything. Tasha's really giving you everything. I think it helps a lot to role play and to play as. I think I'd be really excited to try this one out in the next playthrough. Even though I'm trying to steal a character from Bo, this one's coming in. This one. Anyway,
I'm waiting to see what character you actually land on for our campaign too.
Mentally prepare for an old man. I don't know the class yet.
Interesting. That'll be be funny.
I think we should totally review Xanathar's at some point, or one of the characters, some of our favorite characters from there, because I'd be curious to see how they compare to some of them in here. I really like what I've seen today. I like Tasha.
For me, finding one in here that I thought was my favorite was hard, because I was like, they're all kind of, after Twilight Domain was taken, they're all kind of, I'm like, would I don't know, it's okay. Whereas Xanathar's, I'm like, Celestial Warlock, Soul, sorcerer. What is that? What's the good sorcerer?
Oh, Divine Soul Sorcerer.
Divine Soul Sorcerer.
The fact that I knew what you meant when you said the good sorcerer.
In our home game, I was calling. Nick showed up as a new warlock. His first character. Like, I'm not being any of you people. So he came in with a new character that was a warlock, and me as a player didn't know warlocks. I was like, oh, it's like a sorcerer but evil. I don't think. But.
I mean,
it sounds like a more evil name. I can see why they drew that conclusion.
But I mean, also there is celestial warlocks that have whose patron is, if not a deity, something like Zariel before she fell. I don't think that's a spoiler.
Yeah.
That's Avernus.
How it starts.
I don't feel spoiled.
All right, so that is going to wrap it up for this episode of this show, whatever this is. This is our top 3 subclasses in Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. Be sure to like us, subscribe, check out our actual play Dungeons and Dragons live streams with these fine folks, with 13 other fine folks over different days as well. We got some great stuff showing up. So thank you, and we'll see you somewhere.